Hello, my name is Joshua Drum and I'm Gold Team Scrum Master, and here's our 4th progress report. This is me, Joshua Drum, and I'm in charge of character user stories. The first character user story I have is, as a character, I want to start with 100% red health hit points so that I can take several rounds of damage during a single life. The acceptance criteria for this are that the HUD reflects the Archerman's health properly, and that the number of hearts should match the number of health hit points, starting with 10. If we open up our game and go to the test HUD panel, we can see that initially the character starts with 10 hearts. The second user story is, as a user, I want my character to start with 100% blue shield protection so that my character can take several rounds of damage during a single life. The acceptance criteria for this are that the HUD reflects the Archerman's shield properly, and that the HUD reflects the Archerman's shield properly starting with 10 shields. If we go back to our window, we can see that also our number of shields for the Archerman starts with 10. A third character user story is, as a user, I want my bow to shoot more than one arrow at a time in multiple trajectories when I get a power boost, so that I can have incentive to pick up items in the game. The acceptance criteria for this are that the archer's shooting strategy is normal before colliding with an arrow buff, that the archer's shooting strategy changes after colliding with an arrow buff, and that the arrow buff shows the archer shooting 3 arrows at a time. If we go to our game, and we go to our testing colliders panel, we can see initially that our character will only shoot 1 arrow at a time. But if we go over and pick up the buff, this lightning bolt that was over here, now our character will shoot 3 arrows at a time.
Hi, this is Caleb Dunham with the Gold Team, and this is Sprint4's update. HUD User Story 1, as a character, I want my arrow supply to be finite and start with a quiver of 100 arrows so that I can experience a more realistic challenge of running out of ammunition and needing to pick up more. The acceptance criteria, HUD reflects the Archerman's arrows properly, with my expanded acceptance criteria being HUD reflects the Archerman's arrows properly. Yes, we can go. So we watch right up here, shoot, and they get displayed correctly. My next user story, as a HUD item, I want to show the user when their character has a buff so that they can plan their strategy accordingly. With the acceptance criteria, HUD shows a draining bar representing a buff timer, and my expanded acceptance criteria being HUD should indicate that the weapon is enhanced for a certain duration. Over here. So here is just one single arrow. And then up here is an arrow buff where we shoot 3 arrows. This is only for a limited time, of course. And now back to 1. Thus completes my presentation. Thank you.
Hello, this is Michel Al Hassan from Gold Team. This is my sprint for contribution user story. As a user, I want distinct level for my character to navigate through so that the game is challenging. Accepting criteria, user can navigate the map and see more obstacles and platforms to avoid. And here is the demo for the map view. So as you can see, the user can navigate the map and see the obstacle visible on the screen so that they can avoid and navigate the game. This is all I have for this sprint. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Rajiv Macharamo and this is my Sprint 4 presentation. So for this presentation, my first user story is as a walking enemy. I want to properly animate so that the game looks good. The acceptance criteria for this is the game shows a walker enemy animating as expected. My second user story is as a flying enemy. I want to properly animate so that the game looks good. The acceptance criteria for this is that the game shows an enemy animating as expected. And I'll show you that here. And as you can see, there is the flying enemy at the top right there. And here is the walking enemy. And that is all I have for this sprint. Thank you.
Hello, this is Gordon Clunt from the Gold Team, and this is my contribution for Sprint 4 of Archerman Game Development. I'm responsible for the game engine, and these are my user stories for this sprint. The first user story I did, the sprint, dealt with game objects entering and leaving the game. It reads, as a game panel, I want to automate the addition and removal of objects so that objects can be dynamically added and removed during gameplay. The acceptance criteria reads, arrows and creatures will be removed from the game at appropriate times. The expanded criteria reads, an arrow shot should remain on the screen for a determined distance from the archer. An arrow should be removed from the game when it hits an enemy. An arrow should be removed from the game when it reaches its maximum range. A creature should be removed from the game once its health reaches 0. Okay, here we can see the archer has been added to this screen with the ability to launch arrows, and in the HUD panel here, the same archer, same arrows, added in the same way, is able to launch arrows at the ghosts. You see that the arrows go a certain distance away and they're removed from the game panel. And as the ghosts lose their health, they're removed from the screen. My second user story was to create a splash screen for the game. It reads, as a user, I want to see a splash screen with options to start the game so that I can begin a game when I am ready. The acceptance criteria reads, a user should open the application, view a splash screen, and then presented with game options. The expanded criteria reads, an application starts with a presentable splash screen. Splash screen shows loading components. Once components are loaded, the main game window opens with options to play the game. Okay, here we have the game starting up. And the splash screen opens, and you can see that components are loading in the top right. And then the game panel opens. I'll go ahead and close it and show you that again, that once you start the game, the splash panel opens, components are loading on the top of the screen, and the game starts. This is the extent of my contributions for this sprint. Thank you for watching.
Hello guys, this is Faizan Machishti from Gold Team, and these are my user stories for Sprint 4. My first user story is, as a user, I want my character to have the ability to pick up extra lives so that I can progress further into the level as they get more challenging. The acceptance criteria is, the user gains more lives as he passes through a life. My second user story is, as a user, I want to pick up health hit point potions so that I can experience a temporary immunity from enemy damage. The acceptance criteria is, as the character passes through a health boost, a status bar starts showing the temporary health boost time, and during that time the character doesn't lose health. My third user story is, as a user, I want to pick up a total hit point health boost so that I can regain health more quickly. The acceptance criteria is, when the character passes through a heart, it regains health. My fourth user story is, as a user, I want to pick up a strength boost potion so that I can experience a temporary boost in arrow damage. The acceptance criteria is, as character passes through a temporary weapon boost, a status bar starts showing the temporary boost time, and the archer bow starts shooting 3 arrows. My fifth user story is, as a user, I want to pick up a strength boost item so that I can experience a permanent boost in arrow damage. The acceptance criteria is, As character passes through a permanent weapon boost, the weapons are boosted permanently. My sixth user story is, as a pit of despair, I want to kill the user when they come into contact with me so that I can make the level more challenging. The acceptance criteria is the character falls down and dies as it steps into the pit. Now let me show you the demo. So when I start, you can see that the user can only fire one arrow at a time. And when I take this heart over here, you can see that the health will increase. You saw that it increased by 1. Now this is the temporary boost. So when I take this, now you can see a status bar at the top, and now my character can fire 3 arrows at a time. So you can see it can shoot 3 arrows. But now since the status has ended, it will only shoot 1 arrow at a time. This is a live, so you can see the lives over here in the HUD item. When I take this, 1 more life increases. And this is a health boost potion. So during this time, you can see a status bar over here. During this time, the enemy does not lose health. And now you can see that my enemy can only fire 1 arrow at a time. But this is a permanent boost, so when I take the permanent boost, you can see that my archer can now fire 3 arrows at a time. And this is a pit, so when my user enters a pit, it falls down and dies. Thank you.
That's all for this sprint. Thank you for watching.